Last week, apparently, I was pissing people off, and Rio weren't there to tell me to shut up and calm down, but he's back.
I need to shout out West Ham, David Moyes. West Ham and what they're doing. Best start ever to a Premier League campaign.
Wow.
Watched them last night and what the confidence in that squad, man.
Pep Guardiola, with the greatest side ever assembled, the so-called greatest coach the world's ever seen, has lost more than Ollie the fraud, get him out of my club, allegedly, Solskjaer. So when are we going to have a conversation about the most pandered to coach the world's ever seen?
Somehow, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has managed to outclass the newly sacked Nuno. Now, that was an absolute shock for me. I originally had Ollie losing all 3 games. But now when I think about it, Ollie's got the maddest luck. So he might win 2 of those 3 games.
Sokin. They can never do it like I. When you see man pull up and slide, man stepped in the room with legends, Rio and Steve, you know it's a vibe. Check the podcast, what you wanna know? Don't ask me, go and ask Joel. If you're talking Premier League, he's on the front line and I gotta go. It's a vibe with 5, and you already know what it is. It's a vibe with 5, and you already know what it is. Vibe with 5, and you already know what it is. It's a vibe with 5, and you already know this.
Okay, so I want to give a massive shout out to our sponsors, Sokin, Rio.
Listen, guys, Sokin are on fire, by the way. Big things are going on. They're on the up and have just celebrated the biggest week ever of downloads.
Damn, Sokin transforms how you send and spend money abroad. It's quick, it's easy, and it's cheaper than anybody else out there.
And you know what? Let's not forget, official partners with Arsenal, of course. Best decision they've made. Everton, Fulham, AS Monaco, and an NFL team, the Miami Dolphins. I know you're an NFL fan, Rio, aren't you?
Yeah, massive. I love it. I watched it last night. I just love the red zone, man. It's good, man. Good game.
Yeah. I'm trying to get into it, man. We can talk about that later on. If you haven't done so already, it's time for you to join the club and get involved. Download the Sokin app. You can't go wrong. Free to download on iOS and Android.
It's a free, you know what it is? It's just a fixed monthly fee. You can send, you can spend, you can convert, you can receive unlimited money transfers and currency exchange in 38 countries, by the way, to over, is it in 38 currencies? To over 200
currencies, 200 countries. Get involved.
No hidden fees. That's one of the big points. So
I don't think it was 200 countries.
Yeah.
It's 200 countries.
Neither did I. Oh, man. All right, cool. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this week's episode of Vibe with 5. Last week, apparently, I was pissing people off, and Rio weren't there to tell me to shut up and calm down, but he's back, fresh from a back injury. But you know what? We're happy to have you back, man. We really appreciate the message you sent last week. It was an important episode, and we were trying to get you to not come on for a few days, but all I can say is that Man United spirit was living within you, man. That old school Man United spirit, not the new one, the old school.
I can already see the comments, you know, that he's fucking back because we won.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Something like that. You guys watching this, Stephen Halton, Rio Ferdinand, back.
You know what? It's been a mad week, I swear to you. Obviously, it's Halloween, and like when you've got young kids as well, Halloween's like one of the biggest kind of build-up weeks of the year. Kids want to go out, they want to do stuff, they want to do all that, going to knocking people's houses and trick-or-treating, get dressed up with the costumes and stuff like that. We'd already, the baby's first Halloween was doing something already in the planned, doing something. Oh, mate, it was just mad. And that week, that busy week, I managed to just do my back, man. And it's, you know what, it's the worst pain I've ever had in my life. It was mad. Like, I can't even put it into words to describe it, but excruciating pain. I ended up going to hospital in a wheelchair, and then I was in hospital for like 4 days on morphine. I was in a bad way. I swear I shed a tear at one point. and then I come out in a wheelchair after that. All them Halloween pictures on Instagram. That's what I mean. So you got to dedicate yourself to the family, man, and get dressed up still, which was key. Sit through the pain barrier, do that. That was good with the kids. But yeah, it just, you know, it took me back to when I played. And I think anyone who played with me was in the squads when I was playing to the back end of my career. Probably from about 30 years old, when I hit 30, I started getting really chronic bad back pains. And after games, sometimes, well, most of the time, most games after a game, by the time I'd get home, I'd almost have to unfold myself out of the car and I'd be walking like almost like a 90-degree angle with my head nearer to the floor than up to the sky.
I asked you about this last week because you mentioned that it's been something that had happened when you were playing. And I do remember just reading, like you kind of do, like, oh, Rio's got a bit of a sore back. And when you see you almost not missing a game, you go, well, he's got a sore back. Like, he's clearly getting through it. But you said, like, this was from about 2008 when, let's be honest, you were pretty good then as well. Regularly good as well. Didn't really miss a lot of games, but there was some days where you just couldn't walk.
Well, that's the year I played probably my most games. I think I played the most or second most games in the season in that Champions League winning year. And that's when they first started to appear, the cracks in my back. And the biggest problem I had is that I searched high and low across all parts of Europe to find a solution or just what is going on with my back. And I just wanted to know what it was. And I always found that the worst thing was, listen, if you break your leg, you know you've got a certain amount of time and a certain rehab you've got to do because everyone knows what that is. But with a back that you don't know where the problem comes from, why it happens, when it happens, or when it's going to appear, it just leaves you just sitting on edge the whole time. And so that's where I was for years, man. And anyway, as I said, all the lads used to laugh sometimes at me the way I used to walk in after a game. I'd be on loads of medication and tablets. And it's kind of, this type of episode hasn't happened since I retired, probably a couple of times, but I'd be 24 hours, I'd take a few tablets, rest up, and I'd be fine. But this one was like, whoa. I started thinking, am I ever going to be able to go back in the gym again? Am I going to be normal again? You get them mad thoughts, but it is, you've got to look after yourself. And I go gym. I have to go gym to keep moving to stop these type of things happening to me, I feel. But it's just something, maybe I've got to just manage it a different way now. But again, had all the scans, look on the scans, and the guys are telling me, listen, the specialists and the consultants are saying, wow, your back doesn't look like someone who played 15, 20 years professional high-level football. So it's a good-looking back, like on the scans. You know what I mean? So it's baffling. But we are back. We are here, guys, and we are ready to rock and roll. And yes, you're right. You're right, Joel. Man United won, and I'm back.
Back, like the pain in your back. Okay, cool. But before we carry on, I just want to ask, most players, right, when they can see that parts of their body start seizing up, they kind of like forsake international football to prolong their club career. You didn't do that as per se. You know, I remember when you didn't get picked for one of the squads, man, I can't even imagine how you felt, you know?
You know what? Maybe I should have curtailed my international career, but sometimes your ego takes over, man. Your ego or your pride, and you think, I can still do it. It's like one of them punch-drunk boxers when they've had that fight too many, maybe, and then we always sit there and go, why are they still going, man? Just relax. Just leave it now. Give it a rest. You've done all you can. And there was probably a time, definitely international football, I probably should have said, you know what, hang them up and really just concentrate on being fit for United. But my appetite to play football was just too strong, man. And it probably spilled into maybe being a bit stupid at times, because now, even when I go and watch my boys play or watch my daughter go horse riding, anyone who sees me there, I'm either sitting down sometimes, or I've got a chair with me, or I've got a stool, or I'm stretching off, or I'm having a little walk. If I stand there for more than 10, 15 minutes, my back's in agony. So,
wow.
And that's just I think a lot of players will tell you they've got different things, some knees, some back, some ankles. We've all got them. But I weren't one to be screaming and shouting in the media when I was playing, oh, my back's playing, I haven't played well for a couple of games because of my back or anything like that. Just, you go out there and you play, man. And if you're able to get out on the pitch, there's no excuses.
Wow. Well, linking that in, Man United old days with the Man United new days, somehow Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has managed to outclass the newly sacked Nuno. Now, that was an absolute shock for me. I originally had Ole losing all 3 games. But now when I think about it, Ole's got the maddest luck. So he might win 2 of those 3 games. It's weird, because where does that leave Ole in this current position? I mean, he's just beaten Spurs 3-0, convincing win. You know, Rio, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, listen, when you look, you've got to look at it in the whole picture. Spurs weren't a team with any sort of confidence. But saying that, we had teams that come to Old Trafford, or we played around Europe, etc., where it didn't matter what level they were getting chances against us. This was the first time in a long time I've seen us and thought, actually, I don't really see Spurs scoring, or this team that we're playing against scoring. Regardless of the confidence that they're lacking, we didn't look like we were easy to play through. And this is for the first time we've been searching for this. I think the whole fan base have been sitting there going, play a 2 in midfield or 1 in midfield, whatever it is, a 3 in midfield. It's just whoever plays, we're easy to get through.
That's not true. That's not true, mate. Because before Ronaldo scored, right, you guys were getting sliced open.
No, I'm not saying it was perfect. Son had a good chance. Son had a great chance. But we were harder. This was the first time when I looked at us and I thought, we look quite resolute here. We look like we've got a chance of like making sure that there's a pride in keeping a clean sheet. There's a pride in actually trying to defend and get back into a shape. That's the most important thing. There was a pride in getting back to a shape that they all believed in and all understood. And I think that the pressure that they've been under and all of the scrutinising that's been going on in the media has maybe humbled a few people in that dressing room. Humbled maybe people on the coaching staff, I don't know, into going back to type, going back to what we know that Ollie's teams have been, when they're at their best, have been playing counter-attack football, getting back into a lowish type block, mid to low block, and then having the weapons to be able to hit teams on the counter-attack. And you win a few games, you go on a good run and you start trying to expand. And we've seen it with managers in years gone by at other teams, that you get a bit of confidence, you want to change the way you play. Stoke, for example, you know, in Bolton, they were great at being what they were. The moment they try and expand and open up and be a little bit different and go away from type, they lose that consistency and they lose what they were. I think Man United have maybe found that now, that this is what we are. We're a counter-attack team, the players that we've got, and that's how we're best defensively, but also what we're getting the best out of ourselves going forward as well. And so what it does, it throws up a lot of question marks over a lot of individuals. Like you look at Sancho, 75 million just been brought in. In that formation, he don't play.
Yeah,
he's got to be sitting there. I feel sorry for him. He's got to be sitting there thinking, wow, I was struggling to get in anyway. This formation means where am I going to see myself in this team? So something's going to have to happen. Is Ollie going to change it up for games? We have to wait and see. But I think getting Cristiano and Cavani in that team was a great move. You've got experience, people who understand and know how to deal with pressure and who are absolute top-level performers and professionals. And what it's good for is the likes of, no matter how well they've done at times, Greenwood, Rashford, etc., sit down and watch the best do it. And then when you come on, I want to see you react in the right way. Go on there, no sulking, go on there. And what Rashford done at the weekend should be the source that we want to see every week in terms of not just the output of the goal, but that energy, that focus, and that desire. And I think that the problem we've seen with not just the attacking players, but I think all the players, most of the players in this squad at one time or another, you could have aimed it at them. That I saw a good quote the other day from Zlatan Ibrahimovic about Mbappe. And one of the words that I loved in it was, is he hurting himself enough? And I would say that about a lot of the Man United players sometimes in this team. Are you coming off thinking, wow, I've almost like burst because I've been working that hard. I've gone to the absolute limits there physically, regardless of what I'm being told, but physically I've gone to the absolute end of the earth to get this done. I don't think there was probably enough in that team and that squad that had done that. And I think in this formation where they have a bit of belief and they got an understanding of how to play and they've seen success in the past with this format, with this type of sitting back in a low block and being counter-attack, I think you could see that confidence came from that throughout the game.
Mm-hmm. Steve, you were the one that alluded in the group and you said, hey, man, I think Man United have trained in a 3-5-2 position. You came in with the inside info ahead of all of us. Well done, mate. Were you happy?
10 out of 11 I got on the team.
What'd you say?
I didn't have Bruno. What I'd heard was it was Matic in for Bruno and I didn't like it.
Yeah. But you got the majority of it, right? Fair play.
He weren't happy. He weren't happy. Let's have it right. Let's tell the truth. He weren't happy.
Was he not? I can't remember. I just remember him.
No, I wasn't fucking happy. Okay. I said, you've got to have... I think my exact word was, you've got no one who's a progressive passer in that. The only outlet United would have if it was Matic is Luke Shaw. And I think Nuno's good enough to shut that down and clamp that. You've got to have other options. What I didn't anticipate was the game Wan-Bissaka would have. I'm not sure any of us would anticipated how much of a threat that he looked like with the ball, which is really encouraging, I think. Probably a real big confidence boost for him because everyone gets on at him with how poor he is going forward. And
did you see Roy Keane's comments? Can we put them up with what he said about him? It was out of order,
no, I've not seen that. What did he say?
He said Palace wouldn't even take him back now. We all know that Palace would take him all day long. I mean, it was disrespectful, man.
Did you get on with Roy Keane? Did you get on with Roy Keane?
There was a few things that I liked. There was a few things. I think.
No, I asked him after. Did you get on with Roy Keane?
Yeah, man. I had a couple of arguments with him. I remember one time after the Worthington Cup final, my first final ever, at half time he was going mad. I think I'd made a mistake or something, and I went back at him a little bit. But I just think Roy was I think he was a great leader, man. Great captain. Demanded high standards of everybody, and you see that when he's talking. I think there's a little bit of pantomime in when he's doing his punditry, and he says stuff and you think rah. And I think he sometimes the camera will go off and the Roy I know would let off a little wry smile, like I mean, because he knows what he's doing. He's playing the game well, and he's brilliant at what he does. He's done it right first and foremost. But whatever I would say about Roy, you like him or you don't like him, he'd give you the truth and he'd give it to you in your face. And I always like that. And I think he knew me as well that I like that. I don't want to be hearing someone's talking about me around the corner. I want it in my face, and then I'm going to react to you with performances. And I think that's what great captains do. They get a reaction out of people, whether it's through the way he does it or other people. There's other ways to lead as well. But he's great in that respect. And he called out a few players, which is, listen, everyone's within their rights to do that. But I think he would say the same thing. You got a good response from someone like Aaron Wan-Bissaka at the weekend. But one game don't save your life.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Steve, you were saying, go back to your team. Apologies for that. But yeah, you were saying that you wanted more of an outlet than Matic, but you didn't anticipate Wan-Bissaka's game or Bruno starting. No,
I think what I said to you guys is this is mad. Without Rashford and Bruno, I don't know if there's enough link. Cavani and Ronaldo are going to score goals, but where is the outlet coming from those? If it's just Luke Shaw, I think you can deal with that. But obviously Bruno coming in, I thought Bruno had a great game, and he had a really disciplined. I just sent to you guys in the chat the average position of where Bruno was. It's exactly where you want a right-sided number 8 to be.
You know what, Steve? I disagree a little bit in the first half. I thought he gave the ball away so much, and then until that goal in, and I went, that's why you got him in the team, because he produces them world-class.
He does that. Law of averages.
Yeah, he is. He's like De Bruyne and Messi are the two players who give the ball away the most in the world. True. Creative players give the ball away. Yeah,
you've got to take chances, man.
Yeah. So if he's doing it to create chances, as much as a frustration as it is, you got to do that. If he's doing it in our own D, that's a problem, isn't it? If he's doing it at centre half, that's a problem. But when he's doing it to create chances, it is what it is. But I thought it was a really disciplined performance from him, and it's proved that actually he can play there. So maybe the performances we've seen where he's been extremely high and vacating midfield, maybe that's two orders. So I think overall, when you look at, I mean, limiting them to no shots on target, great, but I think there was a little bit of poor finishing from Spurs in that. Although I thought we did look way more structured defensively. Really happy with how we played. I think there's now a lot more question marks over how we've played this season. And are we going to stick with this? My gut feeling tells me we're going to ride it out this week. But like you said, then there are question marks. Unfortunately, for every single formation United picks, someone big misses out. Now, if you go with a one-striker system, Cavani misses out, and I don't think that's fair. I think the guy's been unreal for us this year. You know, if you go with a 2 in midfield, there's not really much room for Donny, for Pogba. Bruno's going to start regardless. But like every single formation that United could choose, someone big really misses out on it.
Pogba sitting down, Steve. Like, I don't care. When Pogba's in the team, my man has to play. This is what I don't understand. That guy could not be hitting bench. And you know, I love taking digs, but I understand when a player's got quality, Rio. I don't get it.
I have to agree with you. Like, the biggest thing for me is that when Pogba leaves this football club, which he's going to at some point, yeah, if it's this summer, he leaves this summer, people will go, oh, he was a failure, he was this, he was that, yeah. But I would say that it's been a failure of the club as well. Because when you see him for France, what he does for France, You can't tell me it's not there. So you've got, when you spend the money you spent on someone like that, you build around him and you put the team in a position that he's going to actually be able to produce his best football. I don't think that any manager's been able to unlock him in a red shirt in a Man United team.
Is there a reason for that? Partially because he's never looked fully committed to the club.
No, I know Paul. Paul wants to be there. He wants to win at Man United. Paul walked back into Man United wanting to have his name up in lights alongside the other legends that were at that football club. Trust me, this guy is a football first, football mad kid. He ain't all this people talk about him, this what they say, what his personality is like or his character. They don't know him. The kid is a football first person who wants to be known as a great player, yeah? And
well, if he committed to us now and Ollie went, right, I'll do that.
Yeah, but hold on, listen, can I say something? I wouldn't commit if I was him. I've got to be honest, I wouldn't. Because I don't think...
There's the headline tomorrow.
But what I'm saying is...
real.
Yeah, but the reason why I wouldn't commit if I was him is because, well, they haven't got the best out of me yet. What am I going to waste any more years here for if they've not got the best out of me before? Unless someone else comes in or Ollie can show me in these next few months where I'm going to be putting this team and the team's going to be set up for me to be able to produce my best football. Don't care who you are. Ronaldo is Ronaldo. He's on his own. But every other player needs to be put in a system to be able to perform to their best capabilities. That's it. Simple as that. And he hasn't been put in the best positions and the best place. It's not all the manager's fault, trust me. Paul has to take some responsibility as well. That's a given. But it's not all Paul. And I don't go with that. Paul.
All right. Let's be honest now, right? This is Vibe with Five, everyone watching. I love this show. Can it be said that where it really went wrong for Paul Pogba is the signing of Bruno Fernandes? Because let's be real, that number 10, that 10 dog role should be Paul Pogba. You know,
yeah,
he should have the freedom.
But I just think you can play them both. Why can't you play them both? If
you can't, but he's had to play second fiddle, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying you've got to find a place and way to play him in there. And I think that my biggest concern with the Man United team, and I sound like a broken record, has been the intensity and the lack of a structure. And I think if players can only perform when they perform off that foundation of a solid structure, a solid framework. And don't matter who the players are, what you've seen the quality in this squad at Man United. The structure hasn't been right in this team. It hasn't looked anything like right. And the first time you've looked at him and thought he looks half decent at the moment was at the weekend against Spurs. So you think, actually, this is the first time I looked at them and thought they look absolutely, yeah, this is something I can see there's going to be progression. The games before that, I was all getting hyped and carried away with when Ronaldo signed and all that, the madness that goes alongside that. We were nicking games last minute, four or five.
I told you guys that last time you were getting at me, remember? I told you guys Newcastle wasn't that kind of result. Oh, what are you talking about, Joe? Oh, what are you talking about?
No. What I'm saying is that we're all fans, man, and you get carried away and you enjoy the moment. But what I would say is that they were great results, but they weren't convincing performances. And I think if you don't have that both together, you're not title challengers.
Someone tried to tell me Pogba didn't play well in them games either as well. Are you mad?
Did
he get like 7 assists in those 2 games?
People don't like giving Paul the props he deserves when he does play well, and that drives me mad. It just does in general. But
I think he's been largely a very good player for United, but I think there's a little bit of a lack of consistency, and also maybe he's not hit that sort of real wow factor that we probably knows in him, probably.
And he ain't hit what he's done in a France shirt. That's the thing. And I think what he would be, listen, I know Paul, man. He's an honest guy. And I think he would sit there and go, it ain't gone as well as I would have liked it to go here. But there are reasons. He will take responsibility, but that's a shared responsibility. It's not just all him. I'm telling you, it ain't. He's too good a player for me.
And you guys have got a list, Steve, of players. And I'm looking at you because you will always find a way to defend them. Man United have acquired a certain level of players in the last few years.
Hang on. You live in the glass houses here. Do you really want to play this game?
Wait. Whoa. We'll get on to Arsenal's best performance of the season in a bit. Don't worry. We've got that in the bag coming.
You want to talk about money wasted on players?
Di Maria's fault. It can't all be Pogba's fault. It can't all be Schweinsteiger's fault. It can't all be, all these players here. The only 2 players that I've seen come to Man United, it can't all be Martial's fault, Sancho's fault. You know what I mean? Donny van der Beek's fault. There has to be some sort of responsibility held to the club as well. I completely agree with that, Rio, man, because these players are not rubbish. They're not dead. Steve?
Steve, go on if you want.
No, obviously not. But you're taking, as always, you take things to absolute extremes. There's been some players, Rio will probably be able to tell us better than anybody here, that there's got to have been some players that you go, ooh, he looks a player. United signed him, and you go, he can't handle Manchester United. Because it's different, isn't it?
But those players are not those type of players.
Yeah. No, that's one thing that we don't get to see. Like, I remember when I played, you'd see a certain narrative in the media about players, and they go, "Oh, why is he not getting a chance?" and blah 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 blah. And then we'd be going in there going, "Because he ain't good enough."
Yeah, but they're not those players, Rio. Those players I named are not those players.
But
you know,
you don't know what's being said at Carrington, at the training ground. Like, actually, these players that you've mentioned there could be players in there and coaches and going, you know, we thought we were buying this, but we've actually not got what we thought we were getting. So that's why he's not playing. But they can't come out and say that publicly, can they?
No, because then you waste, like, let's talk about Veron for a second. So what we thought we were getting with Veron and what we got with Veron, Fergie could never have come out and dropped a massive clanger here with one of my most expensive signings. He isn't exactly what we thought. We had Keenan Scholes that was working great as a 2. We tried to shoehorn them into a 3. It ain't really jiving. I'm probably going to have to move him on. If he comes out and goes his shit like Jose did a few summers ago, you're not getting your money back for him. And it's still business at the end of the day.
How long was Veron at Man United?
You what?
A year and a half?
A
year and a half?
It was a bit more than that, I think.
Was it 2 years max?
It was a good couple of years. He had some great performances.
He was getting games. He was still getting the games here and there. But listen, one of the best passers I ever played with, Veron, he will come on this show because I still chat to him. He was a bad player.
And he only just finished playing, like, very recently.
I don't know. He went back to one of his Independiente, I think, in Argentina.
He was playing way over 40, I think.
He's one of like a handful of players who I've seen the whole training ground stop and go, did you see that?
So what is it? He didn't fit
3
into the
seasons
system,
ago,
basically.
I think, you know what? Roy Keane was his biggest problem. And I think he'd tell you that. In all the teams that Seba Veron played in, he was the go-to guy. He'd get the ball off the defenders. He'd get the ball off everywhere. He'd be joining the defenders to the attack. He'd be knitting everything together. Come to Man United, as he's going to get the ball off the back 4, Roy Keane's already there screaming. And if Roy Keane ain't in the right position, and Seba is, Roy Keane's got the loudest voice. Hey, give me the ball. Hey. And like when you're on a pitch and there's a crowd, sometimes you don't look who you're playing to. You hear you play where you hear sometimes. So you don't even. So all of a sudden you hear that straight away, and then bang, you go there.
I find it mad that you can hear each other, to be honest.
Yeah. So sometimes you play like that, especially if you're under a bit of pressure, or whatever. Or it depends on the players. But a lot of players play like that. They'll just play to what they hear, and so Seba sometimes weren't getting the ball in the areas where he normally would. So it wasn't as normal for him in the Man United team. That's the only reason he failed. It weren't based on ability because, listen, if it was on ability on putting the ball in a sixpence for a player, he'd done some mad things in a friendly in America for Rude. I think he scored against Juventus in the New York Giants stadium. Rude scored some mad volley, but the pass from Seba was nuts. It was like, he done some mad stuff, but sometimes it's timing when you're there. And it's the ability to gel with what's there at that time as well. If it ain't all clicking together, then you got to get on your bike, and that's what if I'm Donny van der Beek, I'm off. There ain't no talking to me. Did you
see what happened, Rio? Because I was at the game, right? I went to go check out Spurs' stadium. Yeah, it was all right. No trophies, obviously.
Stadium.
Yeah, it's a nice stadium. Obviously, nice food and that electric stuff. Yeah, whatever. And they were warming up, and Donny van der Beek gets called over. And they're like, yeah, you set the ball.
You say, Mick wants a brew. Go and get him a brew, please.
You set the ball whilst the players take shots. My man was there laying off the ball for the guy, Rio.
I know. Listen, I love Donny because he's a humble kid, man. But I got to be honest, boy. If I was looking after him, he wouldn't be there still now. He'd have been gone.
Because I'm sorry. You think, man? Nah.
Can I just say something as well? I've heard some talk, and the only way I can explain it is it's blasphemy. When I heard some people talking about Ronaldo's the reason why Man United aren't going to be a success, and Ronaldo turning up at Man United, yeah, it's great, but he's going to be the reason for why they don't do anything.
Yeah, I've been hearing that.
listen, I've been seeing too much of it. Don't talk like that, please. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disrespect. A player that's done what he's done in the game, superstar. At any generation, he'll be one of the best players in any generation you think about. And even again, he just told people at the weekend what he's about here. Do you know what I mean? Pressure's on, he scores. And to think that, oh, because he doesn't press or because he doesn't run as much as other people, that's not what he's there for. You play to people's strengths sometimes. You can do that with one player when you've got a superstar in your team sometimes. For certain clubs, for certain teams, there's a player that you go, you know what? He don't have to put his foot on the pedal maybe as much in terms of when we get into good positions, get into the structure of the team, but you don't have to exert crazy energy like some of the others. But when that ball comes to you, as long as I can rely on you to back the ball in the back of the net. Like when you look at Lukaku, you look at Lewandowski, you look at Karim Benzema, are they players in this generation, some of the best goal scorers of this generation? Are them players that you look at and go, oh, he don't work hard. He don't half press the opposition. Harry Kane, yeah, he's a great presser of the opposition, isn't he? But we're all talking about them like they're great players. No one's questioning their work rate or their pressing ability. Do you know what I mean? So let's have it right. It's got to be the same for someone like Ronaldo. It's a bigger picture at United. It was the structure of the team. It was other things.
He does press though. He was putting pressure on Romero and Emerson. Like it's not like he doesn't. I think I saw him pressing because I was sitting right behind the goal, and I was actually surprised. I thought, wow, he doesn't get enough credit for this, you know.
No, I'm not saying he don't press. I'm just saying that don't expect him to be the person that he's going to press, and that's going to be a big key part of his game. My man bangs in goals week in, week out against the best teams every single week.
All right, let's stop talking about his pressing. Can we just talk about that absolute beauty of a goal?
Ooh.
Drew grass. It drew grass in my front room.
It's mad. It's the way he anticipated for the defender to miss it. Some of you strikers watching, he was already in position and he knew what he was going to do, even though it looked as if the defender was already there.
You know what I loved about it is as soon as the ball, when you watch it close up, the ball goes into Luke Shaw. He tells him, I'm sure he says to him, turn or time. Yeah. Fernandez turns. As soon as the ball gets into Fernandez, before it even gets to him, Ronaldo's moving. If that ball goes into, no disrespect, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Fred, McTominay, or Matic, or whoever it is, he don't move like that. But the ball goes into Fernandez. Oh my God, the movement! He knew if he goes, he makes the right run at the right time, and the ball gets put on his foot. And then it's about technique. Then it's about repetition, doing that, being there every training session of working them years to do what he done. Because listen, a lot of players sky that ball. Or the goalkeeper hit the near. He done textbook, low, hard, bottom corner, opposite of back where it came from.
Bang. The only place he could put it. The only place he could put it.
It was brilliant.
Them situations there, a defender like me or players who ain't in that level, that ball coming over, they see 100 eventualities in that split second. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. There's so many different pictures that go through their mind. Where with someone like Ronaldo, and it's going so quick, with someone like Ronaldo, it's like it almost goes into slow-mo. He's seen the goal, checked the goalkeeper, seen the ball, the trajectory.
How about I just stick this bottom corner, no problem.
Bang. It's a different mindset to all the others.
What are you doing as the defender there? You're trying to just get something on it and stick it over the line?
Sometimes you've got to say it's a great ball. Juan Mata, when he was at Chelsea, done it to me against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge once. I was playing really well as well. I couldn't believe it. And then he just dinked one. He should never get the ball where he got it. It was an unbelievable pass. He dinked it from quite a central to a little bit inside right, I think it was, or inside left. He dinked it over me, and Demba Ba finished it. It was a great finish as well. And I was sitting there hammering myself in the changing room. And then I got the analyst, can you get me the goal? I need to see it. And I looked at it and just went, it's just a fucking great pass. You can't do nothing about that. Sometimes there's passes that happen in the game and you go, I can't do much more there. Do you know what I mean? Other than be absolutely perfect or cheat a little bit maybe. Or if I'm in a bad position, I'll probably get it. Do you know what I mean? It's like crazy. Sometimes that happens.
And then Ronaldo sets up Cavani for the second goal.
And that ball for that was dirty, you know?
If you want to talk about passes, that was a very underrated pass, in my opinion, man. I'm just looking at it thinking, wow.
I just love the fact, I love Cavani. I love him. I just love his attitude, his whole intensity about him. He's on the move all the time. He's pointing, he's gesturing. But what I'm so most pleased about is that there's young players now sitting on that bench and having to sit there and look and go, that's the standard. Like, not just with the ball, without it as well. Like getting into a position. And I think that's more of a whole picture. But it's not just about when we have it. It's your reaction when we lose the ball. How quick you get back into shape. But also then it's not when you get at the intensity. The way these guys play, man, there's the concentration levels, like to perform and do things like they do at that level. All these little nuances that these young players, Greenwood and Rashford, you can now, if this becomes the formation that this team play, yeah, we're not saying it is, but if the argument's sake, there's no better learning ground for Greenwood and Rashford. Imagine you flip it in a couple of games and you play Greenwood and Rashford up there after watching what them two are doing. I'm licking my lips still. I'm not thinking it's an absolute downgrade. I'm thinking they're going to give me something else now, something different, but could be as effective, as explosive.
Could this be how United get Bruno and Pogba? Because like I said before, I think Bruno very much played as a number 8. And I think him being on that right-hand side gave United a threat from the right-hand side as well, and probably helped Wan-Bissaka to some degree. If Pogba replicated that on the left-hand side, could that be how United get a bit of balance in this midfield? Maybe have someone like a Matic and McTominay or even Fred, who is the more workhorse sort of defensive midfielder in that. But again, he's even got less responsibility with a back 3 behind him.
This is where the training ground. This is where the training ground comes in. This is where you need repetition after repetition, and it's difficult with all the games. But I remember Carlos Queiroz when he was there at United. We'd walk through situations like this. You'd walk through. You wouldn't even have. There'd be no energy exerted. Sometimes you're walking through all these different eventualities in game, different scenarios that can come up in a game. So when the game comes, there's no surprises. But that's
go back. Give me the detail on that. Are you talking it was as 111 reserves or under 23s as another 11?
No, you'd be
moving you around.
Us as an 11 against no one.
Wow.
He'd be in the middle of the pitch and he'd have a ball and he'd throw the ball somewhere and he'd want us to react in a certain way. But now, where's your position adjusting to that? The ball now over there. How does the team readjust to that? And then he'd move people about. No, when the ball's over there, this is where I need you. Oh, wow. When the ball's over there, this is where I need you. And you'd walk through things like that. Right, we've got the ball. When we go now, we play the ball here. Walk up into your positions. No running or a little jog. So you just repetition. The football, tennis. You don't get to Federer or Nadal or Djokovic's level without doing repetition. Seeing the same ball, seeing the same situation day in, day out. It's the same tactically. You've got to be doing it all the time. That's why Pep's a genius. He does that stuff. It's repetition all the time. It's all the players you hear him that he coaches. Repetition of certain tactics and pictures.
Before we move on, just to wrap up on United, so it's not just the United podcast.
Can I just say something as well? Veron, special mention.
I was going to already just ask you that, so shut up.
Oh, God.
He's comfortable.
Textbook finish there from Rashford and playing the role, coming off the bench, real nice. The calmness of Veron, what that added, and Ollie, is he safe for now? Or I still personally think he needs a couple of big performances this week. Good performance against that Atlanta. Not lose. I think win or draw, he's probably okay. I think he's got to have a real good performance against City at weekend.
Yeah, he does. And I think listen, one result don't change everything, not at all. But you get that little bit of hope. There's something to start latching onto now for that squad. But I by no means thought that result like that just happened that you go, oh, it's all gravy now, everything's fine. Not a chance, it's not. Because they'll still be in the back of some of the players' minds when something doesn't go right against Atalanta. There'll still be doubts because of the hangover of the last 2-3 weeks in terms of the pressure that's been put on them. So you need games, you need wins, you need performances to get rid of them doubts, even in the moments where stuff starts going against you in the coming games. They're not at that place yet. But Varane's calming influence was a massive thing. And I think the 3 at the back gives us a little bit more stability. And I think that's a very good call from Ollie.
Antonio Conte, right? It looks like he's going to sign. If he does sign, we might do a special vid for you guys. Obviously, Nuno sacked. I could have told you that from the start of the season. He just didn't fit them from day one. He was that 6th choice manager. I just knew. I've been telling my friends. I got messages from Spurs fans this morning saying, you know what, Joel, we apologize. You said he was gone before Christmas. I said, yeah, I know your fan base, man. I know what it's about. Don't worry. But I'm just thinking someone like Ledley King must be sitting there going, what do I have to do? You know what I mean? It's crazy for someone like him.
It's true.
But in regards to Conte coming in, it sounds to me like it's a done deal. And that's a bit strange because Zidane apparently came out and said he wasn't interested in the United job. So it kind of left Antonio Conte really in for the United job. But if he's at Spurs, to me, that just tells me that Ollie is safe for now. You know, what does it mean with him coming into Spurs?
First and foremost, I actually feel sorry for Nuno. I think he was on to hiding before he got through the doors. I think, imagine signing for a massive club in terms of the new stadium, where they're looking to head now. They've got the stadium, they've got the infrastructure, the training ground. All of that looks perfect. Now let's get it right on the pitch. And the day he walks in there, he's number 9, he's talisman, he's top goal scorer, he's best player, he's captain, don't want to be there. And everyone at that football club and everyone in the fan base knows it. Imagine how difficult that is for him to have to go and deal with that. It's difficult enough to go in as a new manager, but with that, and that's no, I'm not trying to talk bad about Harry Kane because that's his own prerogative to do that. And I was saying from time ago that he should have said he wanted to leave that club anyway. But for Nuno, specifically, I think it was a terrible situation to walk in. And I don't think there have been many managers that could have salvaged or got a tune out of Harry when he's been left so despondent after the summer that he had. So the big thing that you said is Conte. What's in it for him now going forward? Well, firstly, I'm sure he's probably added a few million onto his contract because he knows they're desperate now. And he said, you didn't take me when you should have. You take me now, you've got to pay more. That's one. But secondly, he's got to go in there and change the fortunes of this football club because since the Champions League final, what they got to against Liverpool, this team ain't added any part of consistency and confidence at all. They've gone backwards massively. They're a far worse off team from a confidence and looks like ability-wise now than they was then. And you look at it and you think, is there anyone, if you're looking in world football, could come in there and change the fortunes of some of these players in this team? Conte would have been very high on my list because he's a disciplinarian. He doesn't mess about. You know, all the players that go into his football clubs and the clubs he manages, he don't mess about. He rules with an iron fist and he gets people working. And I think this is what this Spurs team needs. I think there's a lot of players in that squad who probably think they're better than they are at the moment. And they definitely think they're better than they're actually performing. And they need something like this. They need a rocket. They've had big managers, big personalities come in there, ain't performed. So Conte's got a big job on. One of his hardest and biggest jobs on is deciding what he's going to do with Harry Kane. Harry Kane don't look like he wants to be there still. Can they get a deal done with Man City to get him out there, maybe in the summer, in this next window, and use that in the fight?
Yeah, they're never going to sell him in January. Come on, man.
But Conte, that's what I'm saying. He might have come in there and said, "Listen, I don't want to have to deal with this. I can see the way that Harry's playing. Don't look happy still."
No chance. I disagree with you there. He's we know what he's like in the Premier League. 76 matches, 51 wins, 10 draws, 15 losses, 67% win ratio. Obviously, he won the Premier League. Yes, they weren't playing Champions League football. They weren't in Europe the first year he played, which was a massive advantage. He had the 13-game win streak, which was the record at the time. Shout out to Jackson, who's doing all our stats info. Rio, you've said he rules with an iron fist, but this Spurs team, man, they're not it. Like,
hang on, can I just say,
yeah,
all of that stuff that you read out there, 15 losses across 2 seasons, 10 of them came in his second season.
Yeah,
like you said, massive advantage to not having any European distractions midweek. 7 days to prepare for your next opposition. Huge advantage. He didn't have a bad team, right? He had Fabregas, Conte, he had Rudiger, he had players that are genuinely top-class footballers. He had Eden Hazard still, right? He came 5th. Why are people pretending like Conte only ever finished 1st in the Premier League?
Well, because we know that he had the thing is, from my understanding, he had problems with the board. You know.
Okay, did the problems with the board mean he won 2 games in 8 in the middle of the season?
No, but sometimes that happens, though, bro.
No, but he's got a proven track record that he knows how to go into clubs and change things and get things going. He's gone into Chelsea, wins the league first season.
Inter.
He's gone to Inter, wins the league. He can shift stuff, and I think more than anything for Tottenham and Spurs fans and Levy especially right now, he's thinking, I want someone to come in here and give a rocket to these players. They need a rocket. That performance against Man United was a despondent, lackluster, no authority, no character or personality type performance. Like you can't.
You've got to be real with what you're getting, though. You're getting probably a one and done. You ain't here to build a foundation.
No, I get what you're saying, but it sometimes needs must. I ain't being funny. Beggars can't be choosers.
Fair enough.
That's the situation that Spurs are in at the moment. It hasn't worked for Nuno. He pulled the trigger quick. He said, I ain't having this. I'm going to get him out, get rid of him now. And I'm going to go somewhere where I think I can get a quick fix.
Do Spurs have the squad to be a quick fix? I don't think they do.
Well, listen, they got goals in there. If you look at, if he gets Harry playing, you've got Son. Do you know what I mean? You've got Lo Celso behind that who can provide as well. You've got players in there who have got the ability to score goals. Dele Alli, you get a Dele Alli back. We've wanted to see this now for a number of
you know what? I'm not hearing that one, mate.
What I'm saying is that you've got players in there who have proven in the Premier League that they can score goals.
3 years ago, mate. He's
still done it. Do you know what I mean? There's players who you said before who were dead and buried, and they come back and they perform, and you go, "Oh, I didn't see that," but they start playing.
Who? Because I know you don't believe that. Who?
I'm not saying about Dele. I'm not saying that I think Dele is going to be that guy. I'm just saying, if you're a manager, you go into situations and think, "I can turn that player's career around." If you don't think you can do that, you're not a manager. Do you know what I mean? There's players. If you look at someone like, for instance, Potter at Brighton, yeah. He goes into Brighton, people are going, oh my God, who is he? What? These players, they're classed as average players, average team. He's making players look like absolute world beaters. Players that were not on the list of any other team's lists in terms of recruitment. But I'm saying that a manager can come in and change the fortunes of a player and change the outlook of that player.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying.
I agree. I just don't see it with Dele. I'm not saying he's not capable. I just don't see it with Dele Alli. That's what I'm saying. But sticking, of course, you know, I think it was one of the best come-ups. It's just a shame. Liverpool versus Brighton. You're talking about Potter. My word, this guy he doesn't know how to lay down, man. He doesn't know how to lay low. You know, outstanding second half performance by Brighton. I thought it was going to be a Man United past the pad first half slapping, bro. When I saw that When I saw that Mane go in, yeah, I thought, what? The second one, but before it was disallowed, obviously, for the handball. I thought, nah, they're doing it again. Routine check. But
I thought it was a 5-0 slapping on the cards.
It's true.
And all of a sudden they come back. But Brighton have been in I think they've been in every game they've played, they've been in it. They keep themselves in games. And I've said this a number of times now. If they went out and changed and broke their structure of the way they recruit, which is really good, they buy young and build and look to sell at some point. But if they change that maybe and we're going to go and spend 40 odd million on a striker, yeah, who's going to give you 15, 20 league goals, they become a real problem because the way they play, they give people problems left, right, and centre. The shape of their team, the fluidity, the rotations. Trossard, he's a joke, man. Creatively, he's unbelievable footballer. But they've got so many players in there. Basuma now he's back again. He played it. They've got players in there that just perform, man. And like I said,
real consistent players, man.
You look at their back line, yeah. They play a back three, yeah. Lewis Dunk they flirted with him at other clubs a couple of transfer windows ago, and they signed him to a long deal. But until Potter come, really, the back three and the players that have been in there, everyone's gone, who are they? I mean, what are they about? He's got them now playing them. You're thinking, wow, these boys are really, really good players, man. So he's instilled a lot of confidence. And Klopp said something before that game. He said this is a difficult game. They're a hard team to play against. It's an uncomfortable game against Brighton at the moment for teams because they pose so many questions and they proved that at Anfield.
It weren't looking either. Let's not have it. People, I mean, I'm not really seeing anyone saying it is, but let's just put it out there. It definitely wasn't. They were good value for the point and maybe could have even snatched it. They had a couple of opportunities.
Yeah. Klopp said it felt like a loss. And I think that's definitely 2 big points dropped because when you look at Chelsea now, my word, just steamrolling the thing, man. To me, City were always my favourites. But as the games are going, I know it's just the start of November. Happy first month, people. But Chelsea looks strong, man. Rio.
Yeah, I said, I think week 1 or week 2, anyone who finishes above Chelsea win the league. And then after a few weeks, I was like, I don't know if they're going to last it. But then again, the consistency and the most important thing for Chelsea fans, which I'm sure they'll be clinging on to, and which will please Tuchel more than anything, is they've done it without Lukaku and they've done it without Werner. So Lukaku, the £100 million striker, the goal getter, that person was going to change things for him. He's now not playing and injured, but they're still getting results. Reece James banging in. He's got the most goal involvements, Reece James at Chelsea this season.
Wow.
That's ridiculous. So to see the way that he's getting and drawing so much out of these different players in this squad just tells you that he's doing something right on the training ground, and the players have just responded to it. If you didn't believe that after last season, that's what they've done. It's hitting home this season. But you know what I like about them is that they're hard to play against, man. Chelsea, they're a hard team. I don't see many games where you look at them and think, "Well, they're all easy." That's easy to play against. That was an easy game for that team. Went to Stamford Bridge or wherever it was. That was easy, man. He don't accept that, and when you see him on the touchline, for a fan to see the way how animated this guy is, with and without the ball, encouraging most of the time, he demanding, like it's great to see, man. And I think he's a top manager, and Chelsea done so well getting him after sacking Frank Lampard, because again it could have gone elsewhere and got somewhere. They got the right man.
Yeah. But Abramovich would have got there in the end. He always does, Just to go back to your stats information about Chelsea, Reece James, Trevor Chalobah, and Ben Chilwell have scored as many Premier League goals combined as the entire Spurs squad. I just feel like it's my job.
You're on a Spurs beating day today, isn't it?
Yeah, bruv. You know what it is, bruv. 2 League Cups since 1999. Shout out to George Graham and one day Ramos. Okay, Crystal Palace beating Man City 2-0 away.
Steve, take it away. I'll let you enjoy this one.
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola, with the greatest side ever assembled, the so-called greatest coach the world's ever seen, has lost more than Ollie the fraud, get him out of my club, allegedly, Solskjaer. So when are we going to have a conversation about the most pandered to coach the world's ever seen, bottling at Crystal Palace of all places?
Steve, he's got like, how many Prems has he got? Is it 4?
Hey, why are you talking about the past, Joel? Let's talk about today. And here's the fact. You're only as good as your last game, and he lost 2-0 to Crystal Palace.
He's still current Premier League champion.
Rejects FC.
You've got a big shout out to Wilfried Zaha and Conor Gallagher.
Hey, Gallagher's having a season,
Zaha was a menace. I think like best young player at the moment in England. Conor Gallagher's in the conversation. He's out for goals, energy, assists, affecting games. He's just been tremendous. I think Vieira, big move taking him. I think Vieira's done a remarkable job. A lot of people were worried and questioned. I think a lot of managers got offered the Palace job. I know that for a fact. A lot of managers or people that are out of work got offered the Palace job, and they thought, you know what, it's an aging squad. There's a lot of players at the end of their contract. I think there was like 15 or 16 players at the end of their contracts.
Yeah.
That they had to reshuffle the squad. Oh, it's a big one to take on. Vieira said, give it to me. I want it. He embraced that challenge. And you have to say and give him credit, at this point in the season where we are now, he has done an absolute wonderful job at that football club. And the energy there, when you go there, you can sense it. Just opened the new academy now, premises.
Yes.
You can sense there's a real buzz around the place at Palace now. And Vieira has to take the credit. Steve Parish behind the scenes doing stuff there. Dougie Friedman. But Patrick Vieira's come in there, changed the style of football. Again, that's what I'm saying. A manager coming in and changing the way a team plays. We all knew Palace. They played on the counter. They let Wilfried Zaha roam and just cause havoc. And they fed off of what he done. Now there's more people contributing. There's more people that are going there for the cause in a attacking purpose. And that's down to Vieira, man. So give him his props.
And Rio, they don't even have Eze back yet. Can you imagine when he comes back?
I know.
You were saying, you said Wilf and Conor Gallagher, and you were saying one of the best young players in England. I thought you was going to say Wilf Zaha, and I was like, I swear he's nearly 30 now.
Yeah, no, Wilf's not a young pup no more, man.
Do you know the way you said, I know for a fact other people were offered that managerial job? Just made me think, have you, let's be honest now, have you ever been like, hey, Rio, do you fancy managing? Don't have to be a big club. Is there any lower protein?
I've been asked the question, Rio, would you be interested in, if this job come up, would you be interested in it? And I'm like, one, I didn't complete my badges yet. I was doing my badges, and obviously some stuff happened in my personal life that I couldn't complete it. And I've never gone back to it because it's not something I'm going to do. But trust me, if my situation had been different, I would definitely have been vying to be a manager somewhere. My name would have been in the hat. I'd put my name in that hat to be manager at different clubs.
Who was it asked? Or if you can't say specifically which club, although
Championship, top Championship clubs and a couple of low Premiership clubs.
Nice.
Right, you would have been every week. It would have been, is Rio going to get sacked this week or not, mate? Forget all that.
You wouldn't have trusted me in the dugout.
I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
You a suit or a tracksuit guy?
No, I would have been an all dark navy suit, dark navy tie, dark navy shirt, sometimes white, depending on the game. And I would have looked Chris every week.
Boss thing, yeah.
Tactical wank, but it looks all right. Fair play.
Yeah, you gotta have it fitted, man. Because I need to get my guy Patrick Vieira a tailor, man. Every time I see him, he looks like one of my uncles, man. I think bloody yeah.
I think some of the managers need. Yeah, some of the managers need to come to me and just say, "Really, listen, how does this fit? Is that the right fit or not?" Because they're not doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, okay. Shout out. I need to shout out West Ham, David Moyes. West Ham and what they're doing. Best start ever to a Premier League campaign.
Wow.
Watched them last night and what the confidence in that squad, man, is just it's beautiful to see. And you know what I'm happy about? I'm happy to see the way that, do you know, David Moyes is a great example to all young managers and young players, or any player really, that you can get knocked down, but you get up and go again. You can rebuild. Doesn't matter how hard you get knocked down, you can rebuild yourself and go again. And he's shown that character, personality, perseverance, determination, desire to come back and get himself into a position now that if we were looking at it now and he hadn't had that spell at Man United, people would have been throwing David Moyes' name into the hat and going, "You should go to Man United, you should go to Man United," based on what he's doing at West Ham. Trust me.
Well, your mate Tears for Peers was on it last night. United should have had more patience with him. Please tell him to shut up.
Yeah. Shut up, Piers, man. What are you talking about? You don't know what. Other than Arsenal, you ain't got a clue. But
he doesn't even have a clue on Arsenal.
But you know what? It's just great to see what he's doing. You know what? A lot of West Ham fans have been going, "Oh, Rio, why are you trying to get Declan to go Man United or Chelsea or wherever it is?" Right? Loads of times. I've said when I've been asked a question, I answer it honestly. And they say, "Oh, Declan, if Man United need a holding midfielder, who would you go for?" And I've said Declan because I think he's tops. But you know what I saw? He done an interview yesterday. Him and Ben Johnson, the young fullback. Shout out Ben Johnson, scored yesterday as well. They done an interview after the game. And the vibe I got from Declan was a little bit how I felt when I was at the club a little bit. I don't know. He'd probably correct me on the text or direct message when he watches this. But I said, there's a vibe like, if only this club invested in the players and really built now, there's a chance we could do something really special here that ain't been done. And I'd like to be a part of that. That's how I felt at West Ham. And I used to go and see the owner at the time, Tony Brown, for 2 summers and a Christmas time as well, and said, "Listen, are we going to invest? Go and buy some players. We've got some wicked young players here. Go and buy some players, and we've got a real chance." No, I'm not going to. And they stuck to their guns and done what they've done, and then eventually they just sold me. But I didn't get to live out a dream of doing well at West Ham or winning something or really challenging for anything at West Ham. And West Ham under David Moyes looked like a team. They unnerve teams. They're aggressive. They're confident. They're sometimes a little bit ungainly. They do a bit of rough stuff at the times when it needed, but they've got that quality. Like Declan yesterday, that first goal, he just changed the pace of the game, clips it wide, and then the kid comes in and scores off his left foot. But Declan's just running games, man. You can see him big games. Any game at the moment you watch at West Ham, he's taking control of the games in the middle of that pitch.
Shout out to Bowen as well, though. Bowen and Antonio are still getting, Bowen, he's doing his thing, and Antonio getting involved, even though he didn't score. It wasn't a direct assist, but he's still involved. You know, I think they're doing big things over there. But I want to move it on quickly. I want
to say something on Moyes. I've got a question on Moyes. So obviously, he built this real rugged, gritty determination and reputation at Everton. There was obviously something United and Sir Alex saw in him that they thought, give him the keys to a Ferrari and see what he can do. Obviously, he wrapped it up. But then he went to Sociedad and he was awful. And he went to Sunderland and was worse, like one of the worst managers Sunderland have had. And there's competition for that. Like, there's been some shockers at Sunderland, but Moyes is really in the hat for one of the worst. I think 18% win rate. So horrendous it is. Then he went to West Ham briefly a couple of years ago and was pretty shit. Why is it different this time? What's different about him that's made it work?
I don't know. Again, I think timing comes into it when you come into a club, where they're at, but also he's had time to reflect as well. And I think that's an important factor when you're looking at people as humans. Like, do you reflect and are you honest with yourself, and do you reevaluate and look at where you went wrong? And right, when I go in there, if I get another chance to go in there, right, I've been given the green light to go back into West Ham. I know the mistakes I had before, and I've done this wrong, I've done that wrong. I'd look at that and I'd change that. If you look at it like that and you're honest with yourself, you've got a chance. Sometimes people are a bit pig-headed and a little bit stubborn and go, no, what I was doing was right, and I'm going to continue to go down that road and don't change things. And then they go in, they make the same mistakes again, and they lose, and they get told, listen, not again, you're not for us again. I think David Moyes has changed that, and I think he's been very honest with himself, and I think he deserves all the plaudits he's getting now.
All right, cool, guys. So we've got Burnley getting a nice win against Brentford. Shout out to Maxwell Cornet.
The only home win of the weekend, that, by the way.
Yeah, so excellent stuff over there. Norwich still getting slapped about, lost to Leeds. I'm trying to move this on because I wanna finish off talking about my team. You know, a nice,
I got a bounce.
Nice 2-0 win against Leicester. Be honest, did you think we were gonna get that win? Yes or no, Rio?
Well, Leicester reign in form, are they? So I did think
listen, Brendan Rodgers ain't it, so of course he loses to people like you.
No, I honestly like Leicester's team, but at the moment I just think they're lacking a bit of confidence. So, and the run that you guys have been on recently, since your 5-0 slapping against Man City, has been very, very good. I think it's 7 wins out of 9 games.
Rio, so, thank you. But did you think that backhanded compliment? Did you think though that we were gonna go to their stadium?
No, I didn't know it was more the manner in which you done it. The manner in which you went there and give them a quick 1-2 early doors in the game was, for me, it was one of the best performances I've seen in that first half. There was an element of control about it for the first 25-30 minutes. Emil Smith-Rowe, I love this player, man.
Gallagher, top young players of the season.
You've got Liverpool in a couple of weeks. You might want to.
Yeah, but you've got to give Arsenal the props. I think Mikel Arteta has been under a lot of pressure, man. And a lot of people have been calling his name and saying, he should be given the sack or whatever. But he's slowly building something there. There was a little bit. Listen, Leicester, to be fair to them, on another day, get back into that game. You have to Ramsdale.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
My goalkeeper.
But he pulled off a number of saves in that game, by the way. But it's not all rosy for Arsenal. It's not all finished. It's not complete. The job's not complete, but they're on the right track for me. I think that my two favourite players are Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe in that team. And every time the ball goes to Saka, I think something can happen. Same with Emil Smith-Rowe. And what I liked about the team was I saw there was a humbleness in Aubameyang and Lacazette in the way that they played. They dropped back into a system. Again, they dropped back into a structure, and they played for that team, led by example. And I think they've lacked probably that leadership from on the pitch when I've watched them at times. And them two, for me, showed that in that game. And that was a big part of the way that they played. And I thought they looked hard to play against at times. But it wasn't a perfect performance, but it was a very positive one.
What Rio was also meant to say, ladies and gentlemen, he was supposed to say that Lokonga also showed a great maturity. Thomas Partey being back in the team, you can see the impact it does. A fit Partey does the job. And of course, Gabriel, a defender that United paid Arsenal paid probably 50 million less than Maguire for, has been outstanding and showed again why I reckon he is going to be a top player. And Rio was also wrong about Leicester's formers per se, because they beat Brighton in the last game in the EFL Cup. They also beat Brentford. They beat Sparta Moscow as well. Before that, they beat United 4-2 as well. So I don't know what form you're talking about there, big man. But I know what you pundits are.
I'm trying to look for an angle to take you off your
I know, but come with the facts, please, because I'm watching my team, Come with the facts, all right? Cool. I'm happy with it. I'm happy to finish it there.
Listen, Arsenal, I've told you bare times, I want them to do well, bro. I want them to do well.
No, you don't.
Because you've just been slipping. You guys have been a slippery slide for a while. So I'm just glad that you're starting to claw your way back up the table.
I saw a guy before saying that you're going to finish above United now.
You never know. 12 points behind Pep Guardiola, mate. That's all I'm saying. Where's the champagne?
Yeah. You are the original Arsenal type fan, I swear to you.
Where's the champagne?
Oh,
you know what I mean? You gotta call Don Robbie on so we can celebrate. All right, guys, listen. That is this week's Vibe with 5. Ah, what an episode. Will Man United beat Atlanta? Let us know in the comments.
Why are you worried about Man United, bro?
Because this is a predominant United channel, isn't it? So you got to get the comments.
You love chatting about Man United. You start the convo and you bring Man United
on this show for a reason.
Hold on a minute. You know what I was going to say?
United.
Hold on a minute. Man United played on Saturday, right? Get their result. Well done.
Yeah.
This morning, Nuno gets sacked at Spurs is the main news, and you start this show with Man United chat. Don't tell me that we're all about Man United.
Man United for 40 minutes, Rio. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but you started the show with Man United. When hold on, the real news of the day is Nuno. He should have started the show, and you started that. So don't tell him, oh, you don't like to talk about Man United all the time. You started it like that.
What's mad is it doesn't feel like massive news. It felt quite like it was happening anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It's true.
Yeah,
exactly. Guys, I'm trying to get out of here now. Just letting you guys know that the Romano show, well, it's not the Romano show. It's Romano, Rio, myself, Steve. What's it? Gazzetta dello 5. That's our show. It will be coming out later on in the week.
Glad you know what show you're on.
Yeah, it will be coming out later in the week because Romano's, Fabrizio's out doing some stuff at a summit, but we're still going to bring it to you later on in the week. Obviously, we're going to be at the Man United versus Man City game this Saturday. So please expect one of those videos coming. Banger. Besides that, follow us on socials and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.